So it's really interesting to see how the mindset across the globe is very similar. As we get to my talk and my slides, you're going to see a lot of repetition because all the great minds that you've already heard have very similar strategies. And it's nice to see that there's some uniformity there. So I also was asked a few questions, and one of them was, are our patients going to come back? And that's sort of a challenging question because cataracts aren't going to go away. As Ashvin just told you, there's a pent-up demand, and our patients still want to remain very active and independent. In fact, our phones are flooded with calls saying, when can they get in? And we have to address that. But availability of the clinics or the surgery center is still going to be somewhat limited based on guidelines, and those will be country specific, state specific here in the US, and even down to city and county specific. So we have to take lead from what our local authorities are telling us and work within those boundaries. So as we have this pent-up demand, expect we're going to start seeing patients again, but it's not going to be like opening the doors on Black Friday at the beginning of the Christmas buying season here in the States, where people are running through the doorway to get the deals. Don't expect to be doing 5 and 6 surgeries per hour, at least not here in Utah, because there are quite a few limitations, and those limitations aren't going to go away. They'll be eased up, but as was already mentioned, we're going to begin to see a second wave. And then we have flu season coming up at the same time. So some of the practices that we're putting in place now are definitely going to have to stay, including all the wonderful things that you heard about already. We're going to have to space our visits out more. We're going to have to space our cases out more so there can be distancing still, and there can be time to sterilize and clean more of the rooms and the touch areas than we had before. The screening processes are going to continue. This means that we're planning, we've already done this, to have longer hours in our clinic and in our surgery center, and adding additional days and perhaps even weekends, which is something I'm not a big fan of, but I'm afraid we're going to have to do that. Don't think I have control of the slide yet, but let's see. If not, perhaps Arno, you can move forward for me. There we go. So what are some of our strategies that we've incorporated here in Utah to recover the losses? And the losses have been significant. We believe that our strongest power comes from our employees. And we have really good employees, and we spent a lot of time training, educating them, making them happy with where they work and what they do, and we want to keep them. So we've not let anybody go. We've taken advantage of some of the government programs through loans and grants, and that's been very helpful in allowing us to continue to keep our employees paid even though they're not working. So what are we doing? We're going to streamline our processes, and this has already begun. So instead of having a patient come in and begin to fill out a form with a pen, take time sitting in the office, typically with a visitor that's with them, we're doing phone interviews for the initiation of those visits. This will include history, whatever part of the H&P we can do, past medical history, review systems, so on and so forth. And it's surprising how long it takes some patients to get through that sitting in our office. So that's all going to be done before they ever come into the office. All of our patients have the opportunity to do that through a portal, but it's surprising how many of the older patients do that, but still a lot do not. And so I think the phone interview is going to be important. It was already mentioned about pre-visit education and about premium options, and we're going to continue to do that. We've been working with a company called Ocular Innovations here in the States that has generated a real simple way to do that through pushing video format education, including all the premium options to our patients. So in the past, let's say a patient would visit their optometrist. and be referred to our practice for cataract surgery. Well, most of the optometrists don't do a real good job in educating the patient about the premium options. And those that do, it's surprising how the conversion rate of those patients is much, much higher than those who don't. If the patients know about it ahead of time, are able to understand it, realize it costs more, but realize what freedom that gives you from the glasses, that makes a big difference. Ocular innovations basically involves when the optometrist sees the patient, they give them a card, and this card has a QR code, which doesn't have to be scanned through a QR code scanner. Simply the phone is pointed towards it, or the patient can get close to the card and a text shows up on their phone. They click the link on the text and they're automatically engaged into videos telling us about the doctors that they're going to see, what their office visit's going to look like, talks about cataract and cataract surgery, and the premium options that are available. So this is going to be very important in the future, and I think some of you on the call probably are already aware of this unique innovation. It also will help educate the patient post-surgery and tell them about their drop schedule and when to take their drops and when they need to come back if they do for post-op visits. So this is going to save our staff a lot of time. It's going to better educate the patient, and I do believe it's going to increase conversion to premium IOLs. We're talking about considering same-day sequential surgery to lessen the visits in the surgery center and into the office. So you combine 2 surgery days into 1 and several office visits into half that number of office visits. We are taking advantage of telemedicine, and I see that here in the States, there are now going to be increased payments for those, more similar to what a true office visit will be. And some visits may truly be amenable to total telehealth, including perhaps post-op checks for happy patients, both on the refractive surgery side and on the cataract side. We're going to leverage our premium service. So even more important now to promote premium services as add-on to the cataract procedure, as you've already heard. Let's go to the next slide there. With less visits and less surgery per hour, each visit becomes so much more important. Years ago, I determined that the revenue from one phaco procedure would really equal 3 if premium IOLs included. And that dovetails very nicely with what you've already heard from the others, and that a high number of premium conversions is significantly going to boost the bottom line at your practice. The other thing that we're looking at is how spectacle freedom can decrease the need for glasses, exams, and visits to your eye care professional in the future. Funny story, but years ago, as multifocal lenses first came out and I came to Utah, I saw a number of patients coming in because they felt that there was going to be something like this pandemic, and they didn't want it to rely on glasses for distance or near and have to go to the eye care professional when that might not be readily available. Certainly the Vivior is helpful in showing our patients how much they use their eyes at different distances, and it's so nice that they can do this at home and then show up at the practice with their report for their very short limited exam and not have to spend the time talking about how they use their eyes as much. So we're very excited about incorporating this. Next slide, please. All right, so that concludes. Again, I just want to summarize that it's very interesting how from all over the world, we're saying a lot of the same things. So it means that we are going to see changes, and through programs like this, we can help to align our strategies and end up taking the best care of our patients, not only from the eye standpoint and what they get with their cataract or the LASIK surgery, but also by keeping them safe. Thank you.